You know something? In my 42 years sitting on this bench, I thought I'd seen every kind of person walk through that courtroom door. But that cold Wednesday morning in February, that morning changed everything I thought I knew about arrogance. Before we get into this story, if you're enjoying these real courtroom stories about justice being served, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Now, let me tell you about Police Chief Daniel Crawford. I got to court early that morning, like I always do. My father Giuseppe used to tell me, "Frank, if you're not 10 minutes early, you're late." So there I was at 8:15 a.m. with a cup of strong Italian coffee that Christina, my clerk, makes for me every morning. "Judge," Christina said, sliding a file across my desk, "you need to see this one." I opened the folder and saw the name, Chief Daniel Crawford, multiple traffic violations, reckless driving, resisting arrest, assault on an officer. "A police chief charged with assaulting an officer?" I said. Christina shook her head. "He was going 95 in a 45 zone. When state troopers tried to cite him, he attacked one of them. The state prosecutor wanted someone who wouldn't be intimidated by a police chief's badge. They requested you specifically, Judge. Let me tell you who Daniel Crawford was. 52 years old, police chief of Westbrook for 8 years. He came from money. His father owned car dealerships across the state. He went to an expensive private college, then somehow ended up as police chief, despite never working his way up through the ranks. Politics, connections, donations. That's how men like Crawford get power. But here's what nobody knew. The state police had been investigating him for months. Reports of abuse of power, threatening officers who questioned him using his badge for special treatment. And now they had him on video attacking a state trooper. I finished my coffee and stood up. "What's the courtroom looking like?" "Packed." Word got out. Lots of press, lots of officers, and Chief Crawford brought 20 supporters like this is some kind of show. As I walked toward my courtroom, I thought about my father. He worked 3 jobs: construction during the day, security at night, weekend shifts at the docks. He taught me that respect isn't demanded because of your position. It's earned through your actions. And Crawford had earned nothing but contempt. I entered my courtroom. State troopers sat in the back, reporters with notepads, regular citizens. And up front, Crawford's supporters in expensive suits, checking phones and talking loudly. And then I saw him. Chief Daniel Crawford, tall, perfectly styled gray hair, wearing his dress uniform. He sat with his arms crossed and a smug smile on his face. "All rise," the bailiff announced. Everyone stood up. Well, almost everyone. Chief Crawford stayed seated for a few extra seconds, making a point. When his lawyer nudged him, he slowly got to his feet, that smug smile never leaving his face. Before I called Chief Crawford's case, I had another matter to handle. Case number 24 to 7739. State versus Jennifer Martinez. A young woman approached the bench. Maybe 28 years old, wearing a simple blue dress that looked worn but clean. Her hands were shaking. "Miss Martinez, you're charged with driving on a suspended license. Can you explain what happened?" "Your Honor, I'm a single mother with 2 kids, ages 4 and 6. I work 2 jobs. My license got suspended because I couldn't pay old parking tickets. I was driving to pick up my kids from daycare because if I'm late, they charge me $50. I didn't have $50, Your Honor." I looked through her file. Pay stub showing minimum wage at both jobs, medical bills for her daughter's asthma, rent receipts. This woman was working herself to death just to survive. "Miss Martinez, have you ever been in trouble before?" "No, Your Honor, never." "I'm so sorry. I know what I did was wrong." "Miss Martinez, I'm dismissing this case. I'm also ordering that your license be reinstated immediately. You're working hard, taking care of your family, and you've shown respect for this court. Go pick up your kids." Her eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you so much." As she left crying tears of relief, I noticed Chief Crawford watching her. And you know what he did? He laughed. A quiet, dismissive chuckle. He leaned over to one of his supporters and said something, and they both laughed. That's when I knew. This wasn't just about traffic violations. This was about a man who had no respect for regular people and no business wearing a badge. Case number 24 to 7,821. State versus Chief Daniel Crawford. Crawford stood up but didn't approach immediately. He took his time, straightening his uniform, whispering to his supporters. His lawyer, Philip Berkshire from some fancy Boston firm, stepped forward first. Your Honor, my client Chief Crawford is here regarding what we believe to be a complete misunderstanding. Mr. Berkshire, I'm not interested in your opening statement. Chief Crawford, please approach the bench. Crawford slowly walked forward like he was doing me a favor. Chief Crawford, you're charged with reckless driving at 95 miles per hour in a 45 zone, resisting arrest and assault on a law enforcement officer. How do you plead? He looked at me with cold eyes. Not guilty, Your Honor, to all charges. Do you understand the seriousness of these charges? He smiled. Your Honor, with all due respect, I think there's been a misunderstanding. When you've been in law enforcement as long as I have, you understand that sometimes things look different from the outside. How long have you been in law enforcement, Chief? 25 years. And as Chief of Police for Westbrook, I've earned the right to be treated with professional courtesy. Professional courtesy. Code for let me get away with it. Not in my courtroom. The first sign of trouble came when I asked Crawford to explain his version of events. Chief Crawford, the state police report says you were traveling at 95 miles per hour. Is that accurate? He shrugged. Actually shrugged in my courtroom. I may have been going a little fast, but I was responding to what I believed was an emergency. An emergency? There's no mention of an emergency in these reports. I received a text message that made me believe I needed to get somewhere quickly. Do you have this text message? I deleted it, he said casually. Chief Crawford, the state troopers asked for your identification. What did you tell them? He pulled out his phone and glanced at it while I was talking. Chief Crawford, put that phone away. Now. He slowly put it in his pocket, that smirk never leaving his face. When the troopers asked for your identification, what did you tell them? He leaned back, crossing his arms. I showed them my police credentials. I thought that would be sufficient. Sufficient? You were driving at twice the speed limit. His tone changed. Your Honor, you need to understand how law enforcement works. We have professional courtesy between departments. These troopers should have recognized I'm a fellow officer and handled it appropriately. Appropriately? You mean let you go? I mean understood the situation. I've been in law enforcement my entire adult life. I understand these situations better than most people. My father, Giuseppe, taught me something important. He'd say, Frank, the man who wears the badge carries the biggest responsibility. He must be better than everyone else, not above everyone else. Chief Crawford, in this courtroom, everyone is treated the same, badge or no badge. As I started discussing the assault charges, Crawford turned to his supporters in the front row, rolling his eyes. A few of his friends chuckled. Chief Crawford, turn around and face the court. He turned back slowly. Your Honor, I'm wondering how long this is going to take. I have actual police business, real criminals to catch. This is a waste of everyone's time. A waste of time? Assaulting a state trooper? That's not what happened, he said loudly. I was defending myself from aggressive behavior. Chief, there's dash cam footage. He turned to the gallery again. Of course they have footage. They always have footage when they want to take down someone who actually does their job. Chief Crawford faced forward. You are addressing this court, not your fan club. He took his time, finishing what he was saying to his friends first. Let me be very clear, Chief Crawford, I said, standing up from my bench. You are facing serious criminal charges. Your behavior is inappropriate. He stepped closer without permission. Your Honor, let me be very clear with you. I'm the Chief of Police for Westbrook. I have relationships with every judge in 3 counties. I have the mayor's personal cell phone number. I've had dinner at the governor's mansion. So maybe you should think about who you're talking to. The courtroom went silent. State troopers in the back sat up straight. Citizens looked shocked. Reporters wrote frantically. Are you suggesting your connections should influence this court? I'm stating facts. I'm not some nobody you can push around. I have power in this state, real power, and you need to recognize that. Chief, the only power that matters in this courtroom is the power of the law. You know what, Judge? He said, pointing at me. You need to understand the real world. Laws are for regular people, for people like that woman crying about parking tickets. But people like me, people who protect society, we operate in a gray area. Sometimes rules need to be flexible. Are you saying the laws don't apply to you, Chief? He paused, then said the words that would end his career. That's exactly what I'm saying. The laws as written, they don't apply to people like me. We're the ones who enforce them. We decide when and how they matter. The courtroom erupted. His own lawyer grabbed his arm, but Crawford shook him off. I sat back down. In 42 years, I had never heard anything like this. Chief Crawford, I want to make sure I understand. You're stating in open court that laws don't apply to you? That's right. I've given my life to protecting this state. And yes, I believe that entitles me to certain considerations. What kind of considerations? Professional courtesy. Understanding that when a fellow officer is involved, you don't treat them like a common criminal. You handle it quietly. By letting you go, by recognizing reality. I know things about people in this state, judges, prosecutors, politicians. I've been in law enforcement 25 years. You learn things. You keep files. His lawyer was desperately trying to shut him up. It would be in everyone's best interest to resolve this quietly. Drop the charges, let me get back to my job, and everyone wins. Otherwise, he trailed off. Otherwise what, Chief? He smiled. Otherwise things might get complicated. People might start asking questions. Information might surface. You understand. I took off my glasses and cleaned them slowly. I thought about every cop who wore a badge with honor. I thought about Miss Martinez, terrified of getting a ticket. And here was this man making 6 figures saying laws don't apply to him. I put my glasses back on. Chief, are you threatening this court? I don't make threats. I deal in facts. And the fact is, I know things. For example, I know you have a son who's a lawyer, Michael Caprio. His firm does city work. It would be unfortunate if questions started being asked about how he got those contracts. Now he was threatening my family, my son who built his practice through hard work and integrity. Chief Crawford, you need to stop talking right now. But he didn't stop. And you, Judge Caprio, you've been on this bench a long time, long enough that I'm sure there are cases that could be reviewed, decisions questioned. It would be a shame if your legacy got tarnished. His lawyer was standing, begging him to be quiet. Your Honor, perhaps we should take a recess. Sit down, Berkshire, Crawford snapped. I'm handling this. He turned back to me. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to dismiss these charges using whatever legal mumbo-jumbo you want. And then I'm going to walk out and go back to my life. Because that's how this works. And if I don't? Crawford leaned forward. Then I make calls. Your son's firm starts losing contracts. Your reputation gets questioned. Articles appear about judges who've been on the bench too long. You understand how this works, old man? Old man. He called me an old man while threatening my family. I stood up, feeling pure, righteous anger. Chief Crawford, you have just made the biggest mistake of your life. He laughed. What are you going to do? Give me a fine? Community service? Chief Crawford, I am finding you in contempt of court. Bailiff, take him into custody immediately. You can't do that. Do you know who I am? I'm the chief of police. I just did. As the bailiff approached, Crawford completely lost it. His face turned red. This is garbage. You're nothing but a small-town judge. I will destroy you. I will destroy your son. Everyone you care about. He tried to push past the bailiff, but 2 state troopers were already moving forward. I run Westbrook. I run this whole region. You can't treat me like this. I'm Chief Daniel Crawford. The state troopers grabbed his arms. Get your hands off me. That's an order. One trooper said quietly, We don't work for you, Chief. We work for the people of Rhode Island. As they handcuffed him, Crawford kept screaming, You're all going to pay. I have files. I have information. Chief Crawford, I said as they led him out. "You said the laws don't apply to you. You're about to learn exactly how wrong you are." After Crawford was removed, still screaming threats, I called a recess and contacted the State Attorney General, State Police Internal Affairs, and the FBI. When court resumed, the room was even more packed. This court will now address the charges against former Chief Daniel Crawford. "Former?" someone called out. "Yes. The mayor of Westbrook called during recess. Chief Crawford has been terminated effective immediately." I proceeded with the case. Crawford's lawyer tried arguing stress and medication, but I had video evidence. Dash cam footage showing him driving 95 miles per hour, weaving between cars, refusing to provide his license, and punching a state trooper in the face. On the charge of reckless driving, I find the defendant guilty. Maximum fine of $1,000. On resisting arrest, guilty. 90 days suspended pending anger management. On assault on a law enforcement officer, guilty. 3 years in state prison. On criminal contempt, threatening a sitting judge and his family, guilty. An additional 2 years to be served consecutively. The courtroom erupted. Crawford's supporters sat in shock. State troopers were nodding. Additionally, I am ordering a full investigation into Mr. Crawford's claims about having files on judges and politicians. The FBI will conduct this investigation. Crawford's lawyer was pale. "Perhaps we could discuss a plea agreement." "No. The time for deals is over. Mr. Crawford said the laws don't apply to him. Now he's going to learn that they do. Maximum penalty." I banged my gavel. This court is adjourned. The state troopers in the back stood and started clapping. Then others joined in. Regular citizens, court officers, even reporters. They were applauding justice. The story exploded nationwide. But the important part came in the following days, weeks, and months. 2 days later, Trooper Michael Stevens, the one Crawford assaulted, knocked on my door. "Judge Caprio, I wanted to thank you. When Chief Crawford hit me, I reported it immediately, but my supervisors told me to drop it. They said Crawford was too connected. But you showed us the system can still work." 3 days after that, the new acting police chief of Westbrook, Captain Maria Rodriguez, visited me. "Judge, Crawford wasn't just corrupt. He was running a system of corruption. Officers who questioned him got transferred or fired. Evidence disappeared in cases involving his friends. Now we're cleaning house, reviewing every case he touched. New oversight procedures. Body cameras for everyone. Civilian review board. We're reopening cases where evidence disappeared." A week later, the FBI briefed me. They'd found boxes of illegally obtained files on judges, prosecutors, city officials. Crawford had been using this information for years. "We're bringing additional federal charges," Special Agent Morrison said. "Conspiracy, bribery, obstruction of justice, illegal wiretapping. He's looking at potentially 20 more years." 6 weeks later, I got a letter from Jennifer Martinez. "Dear Judge Caprio, after my court appearance, a social worker helped me connect with programs for medical expenses and legal aid. My daughter's asthma is being treated properly now. But more than that, I was in the courtroom when Chief Crawford got arrested. I heard him say laws don't apply to people like him, and I thought about people like me who get punished so harshly for so little. Watching him get maximum penalty gave me hope. Hope that maybe the system isn't completely rigged against people like me. Thank you for showing my kids that justice can still exist." I cried reading that letter. 6 months later, Crawford pleaded guilty to avoid a longer sentence, but between my sentence and federal charges, he was going to prison for 18 years. No parole for at least 12. The mayor of Westbrook wrote, "Under Chief Rodriguez's leadership, we've completely reformed our department. Complaints are down 60% because officers are being trained properly and held accountable. Community trust is being rebuilt. We've had 0 cases of missing evidence. Our officers are proud to wear their badges again." I still think about that day, about how one man's arrogance revealed years of corruption. But mostly, I think about my father. Giuseppe Caprio would have said, "Frank, Power without humility is tyranny, and tyranny must always be opposed, no matter what uniform it wears. Crawford thought his badge made him untouchable. He thought his connections gave him immunity. He was wrong. I got a letter from Crawford himself from prison. Judge Caprio, I'm writing not because I expect forgiveness, but to acknowledge the truth. You were right. The laws do apply to me. They apply to everyone. For years, I convinced myself my service gave me special rights. I was wrong. Prison is teaching me lessons I should have learned decades ago. Your decision to give me maximum penalty was the right one. It was the only way I was ever going to face what I'd become. I don't know if Crawford's transformation is real, but justice was served. Accountability was achieved. The system worked. And that's what matters. When a police chief says laws don't apply to him, and a judge proves him wrong, that's when democracy wins. That's when equal justice under law means something real. So remember Chief Daniel Crawford. Remember what happened when he announced laws don't apply to people like him. Remember that in America, no one is above the law. Real justice isn't revenge. It's accountability. It's showing every Jennifer Martinez that the system can work for them too. It's showing every honest cop that integrity matters. It's proving courage still means something. I'm Frank Caprio, and I've been doing this job for 42 years. Chief Crawford taught me that the most dangerous criminals aren't always the ones who break the law. Sometimes they're the ones who think the law doesn't apply to them. Remember, sometimes the best judgment is not in the book, it's in your heart. But when someone threatens justice itself, when someone claims laws don't apply to them, the book is pretty clear. Equal justice under law means exactly what it says. No exceptions. If these stories about real justice have resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Share these videos with people who need to see that the system can still work. Every subscription helps spread the message that nobody is above the law. Thanks for listening, and God bless. May justice always find those who think they're above it.